about a new world order and a one world church, a one world government, and a new world order. And he said, "Damn, is it that time already?" And he jumped up, and from that moment, he started awakening and awakening and awakening. So every day that went by, he was doing something to figure stuff out. He was looking into stuff, digging into stuff, and he was back and forth. And in the '90s, and in the mid '90s, late '90s, he went and did a past life regression because he needed to know more. He wasn't getting enough information yet. You know, the internet was working pretty good, but it wasn't up and running fully and completely yet. Because we didn't get internet till '85. All right.
Was it even out in '85?
It wasn't like it is now.
We had
Of course,
internet.
I remember.
it was
I remember
functioning
being a
back-
kid
oh.
still and having dial-up, but that was like in the '90s.
Yeah,
like
95.
No,
AOL.
we had our computers, and our computers were hooked into a system, and we could put our phones on them and stuff. But and it was analog at the time. It wasn't. It
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
analog.
It wasn't cryptic digital yet, but it was analog. But it weren't good, for what we had.
Man, I didn't know it was-
Because we were all stoked. Man, check this out! And I had a friend that was a computer.
You
He was
just
a
think,
computer whiz, dude. He loved that stuff. Mike Wade. And, which is
Yeah, hold
Wade,
on.
and right here. If you get in on this ground level of this stuff right here, he goes, in just a few years you'll be a billionaire.
My friend Justin.
That's how it was with the
Justin
computers when they
Childs,
first
Justin
came
Childs,
out.
Same thing.
he could sit from his house and you could get a private little chat. You could make up a room or whatever and go in and talk or whatever.
Uh-huh.
He could, from his house, he could open up my hard drive, shut my computer off, shut it down. He knew how to get an ATM to spit out money. I mean, this could do it all. He could hack into anybody's.
So Bill started digging through some stuff, and he did a past life regression, and in the past life regression, he found out that he had been on the planet for a long time, and that he was actually an Atlantean priest. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, I met him when I woke up. Okay. And I asked for somebody that I could work with, and that was in my area, because where I lived was a black hole.
Yeah, and it
All
still
right?
is.
Putnam County is
really.
a black hole. Well, it's starting to lighten up.
A little bit.
Because I shine a bright light in darkness, okay? And the thing was I asked for this person, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one of my friends that owns a bar in town, Johnny Lyons, and his wife, and they had opened up a crystal shop. Well, I had been going down there, buying some little crystals and stuff. And the first day I walked in, I was walking through the crystals, and I felt something strange happening inside of me. And I'm like, I put my hand down. I went to pick up a crystal, and I felt it give me like a bump in my hand.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, whoa! So I started feeling across the crystals, and every one that bumped me, I picked up. And I didn't know this at the time, okay, because I was just waking up. All right, I picked up every color of your chakra.
That's pretty neat.
Every color, because it bumped me.
You did. Yeah, you did.
And I set him down on the counter, and Johnny's wife, what's her name?
Stephanie?
Tina, Tanya. Anyways, and she said this. She said, "Oh, that's nice. You have every color of the chakra there." I looked at her and I said, "I do." And so I went and studied the chakra system, and I had talked to him. I had talked to him and told him everything that was going on inside of me, and which was a lot, and they said, "Oh, you know what? I bet you'd like to talk to this guy, Bill Samsel, William T. Samsel. He's going to have a lecture here next week." And I'm like, "Oh, I'll be here for it." So I hadn't met Bill yet, and so I went to this lecture, and it was going to be on Atlantean crystals. All right.
Bill's got some crystals now.
Bill.
And
Oh, he's got some powerful ones too.
yeah, I got a couple of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you about that later. So I went to this lecture, and I was the first one there, okay? And this old man standing there with long hair like his, okay? And he's standing there, and he's got a fedora on, okay, sideways like this right here. And I started talking to him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about this." I said, "Bro, don't be nervous." I said, "You've done this before. It'll come back. It's like riding a bicycle, And so we talked a little bit, and come to find out, he was an Aquarian also. Okay, so it was funny how I started hitting off the meeting people that were Aquarians. Okay, and a lot of them in a short amount of time. So Bill went through the lecture and everything, and the funny thing about it was I had not much information on about what he was talking about, but yet I knew everything that he was talking about. And by the end of the lecture, he had brought out some crystals and stuff, and I was intently listening to him because he was talking about a book that he wrote that came from another book that he wrote called Today's New Atlantis, and how the fall of Atlantis is exactly what we're seeing right now here in the United States. Okay, and it's just like the fall of Babylon. And so I started talking to the man, and one thing led to another. We became really good friends. We opened up a fire circle, which was 5 years ago. We opened up a fire circle,
And
and
how many people came? Like at one time, like
I think the most people we had in the fire circle at one time was 13,
yeah, that was
No,
it.
because nobody wanted to get involved
It
in
would
something
always be just
because
us.
they were told, they were programmed through societal means, television, radio, books, and stuff like that.
Evil.
It was
Yeah.
evil,
You're
right?
doing evil.
Right, and that's what we were told. Oh,
Stop,
you're
you
a bunch of
blasphemer.
Satanic rituals.
Stop.
Right.
Yeah,
going
no,
on
they
out
would
there.
say you're
Y'all are
roasting
dancing around the
kids.
fire,
What are y'all
roasting
doing?
kids. Cultists.
Yeah,
Casting
that's what they say.
spells,
Cultists.
blah, blah, blah.
Cult. We were a cult.
We
I'm
were
like,
cult,
oh my
right.
God, how
So, and
ignorant
we're
are
telling
you?
them, no, man, this is Native American ritual. Come look and see what's going on. If you think that that's what's happening,
Easy,
you're
boy.
more than welcome to come and watch us from a distance.
No, man.
Okay, there's a hard road. Listen, there was 100 yards away from the fire circle. There's a hard road. You can pull up out there, you can park, and you can see what we're doing.
You can watch.
But nobody ever came. The people that did come, we had very small amount of people come back to the circle.
One guy moved. What was his name? He was wild to me, but he lived over by the by the cemetery, by the big cemetery on Moody Road. You go see him. He moved.
Oh yeah, lunchbox.
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 Yeah, he
I
was
like
there
that
all the
name.
time.
Lunchbox.
He's a good guy.
He
man.
would be
But
there all
Son,
the time.
what you
He
did
was,
down
he
there,
was
boy?
in a relationship with this girl over here in Tallahassee, and so he ended up moving back over here to Tallahassee.
Yeah, but he was
That's
there.
the thing that we were talking about being strategically placed. Just
Uh-huh.
like you said,
Yeah,
you're in a spot in Florida trying to get people gathered
yep,
up.
Northeast Florida. Yep.
Right. Okay. And then we have a person like Carol Coleman,
Yeah.
who's up in Oklahoma.
Mhm.
That's a good person if you get a chance to meet her too. They're great people.
Right.
They're building a small community they call Jerryland up there. They've built a small. It's built a building with a big potluck thing to cook in and all kinds of neat stuff.
Wow.
But they're in Oklahoma. You're in Florida. Here
Yeah.
I am in Texas. Strategically placed people
Right.
to start
So,
getting
yeah.
Yeah.
a movement happening, or the
Right.
people that are in your nearest vicinity. If you can get them involved, that's what we're doing. Like we said, being strategically placed, because
Right.
we can't. If everybody lived in Florida, the
Right.
rest of the state would
Sure.
the states wouldn't have no action. It's kind of
Yeah.
like knowing people in Arizona. Where's Kanati at? He's in Arizona.
And that's what we've been working on for the past 5 years, anyways. Because when I got hooked up with Bill, we started doing what we thought but he'd been performing the circle for a long time.
Right.
Okay, he's a shaman.
Right.
He's a Shinnecock and was shamanized by Apache shaman.
Well,
Okay, that was a lineage of Native American medicine men.
Bill's
Mm.
giving
Right.
up though. Bill's just giving up. He's
No,
getting
he's
depressed.
he's beat down right now. Okay,
It happens.
because you know how the ebb and flow works. Okay,
yeah.
but the thing about it was because of that connection, we and the global witness connection. That's how you and I were connected.
Mhm.
Okay, and then we finally brought the physical connection together where we're here and now.
Yeah.
But within all those connections, I met Daniel David, which I ended up meeting Leonardo Perez. Okay,
Yeah.
which we've been to their house many times, to talk about these things
Is
and
that
what's
somebody
going
that
on.
lives in Florida
start-
too?
Yeah, right here in Florida. He lives
Orlando,
down in
yeah.
he lives down in DeBerry.
See, you do find other people
Right,
that are like
and Hector
you. Though.
Rivas lives in Eustis, which those are only within minutes drive from our house.
Well, that's good. See,
And
Right.
each person you meet on their awakening are, they know all the information, but like he knows a lot of other stuff that you weren't.
Leo
that you
does-
didn't
Leo
study
does,
in, and-
that's why when you come together, you
Lazar-
actually form a body.
Lazara and
Yeah.
And
Lazara.
that's what I've been
And,
trying to
and
say
we had been
to
talking
people.
about the healing center since I met him, but we were looking for a piece of property that would be adequate for a structure like that, and it needs to have a spring or a creek, a lake,
I've seen heard the same kind of things. You
Yeah.
got to have certain
natural
Oh.
amenities.
yes, natural
Right.
amenities that are
Right.
there. The only issue that I've looked at with some of the people that I've even spoke with that have tried to put communities like
Mhm.
that together,
Yeah.
you either have to be a person that has a good chunk of money,
Yeah.
money.
Right.
Yeah.
or you have to work with other people. And
Right.
like, let's say us three, I
Right.
have 20 grand. You got 20. You got 20.
Right.
We're fixing to drop on some land.
Right.
the problem ends up being is somewhere in the middle of all that
Greed.
Huh?
Greed becomes a problem.
You could say
oh,
greed.
this is mine. This is yours. This is not how we're going to do it.
That's
This is how
another
we're going to do
issue.
it. Blah blah blah.
Or you might have issues where
And
I
what's-
want to do this part of the healing thing, and I want to focus on this.
Right.
Then you start having problems with the people that you're
Yes.
trying to come together
Right.
with. That's where I have been trying to pay some attention to.
Right.
What is the real common ground we can actually work on to actually unify each other?
Right.
Like I said, the right focused people get it happening. Sometimes you have people, like you said, that are friends that open these little centers and they do great
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they know each other well.
Right.
That's the problem that
Yeah.
we're
And
looking.
they do great. And
Right.
then they
That's what I've noticed with certain things too. It's even like some of the groups that we've been part of and met people out of.
Right.
They do good at first, but when you start having these other, I don't want to say, I would say leaders that come in, sometimes
Yes.
People that act like leaders,
Or leaders that come in-
screw up the flow.
Right, that
It's like
screw
throwing
up
a
the
rock in
flow.
the middle of the river,
Right, right.
and then the river has to go
you
around the
you
rock.
have you have these little rock
Right.
issues. The other
Yeah.
these are the things I've noticed. The other things that like I said, that people seem to have a problem with is whenever they are coming together to put their money down, where they're going to be at.
Yeah.
That ends up eating a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm fixing to say there.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is the time that could have been spent actually moving forward.
Yeah.
You were worried about some of this stuff here that
Right.
really is
didn't even irrelevant.
the ego part
Yeah.
of your mind
Yeah.
or the greed part. You know, you really have to be
Past all that.
a good person. As an example, again, is Carol. I've watched her start her little plane. They have their own property and just started making it happen.
Mhm.
That works differently when you have your own spot.
Right.
But the point is, like you said, if it was three people trying to come together, you have really either got to know each other very well
Mhm.
or really have the mind frame set in that you're going to,
Yeah.
no matter, okay, it's not just mine, it's ours now.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
put
just
in
mine.
20 grand, but
Everybody put it
it's
in.
everybody's, and it's not just for me
Right,
later.
right.
It's
It
for
becomes more complicated when you add more people to that.
That's
you know?
that's
And-
the
and-
things
and-
I've
and
noticed
it's
when
like,
big.
it's like a
big
tribal
group-
structure, though. You know, if
That's
we,
what you need is a tribal
right. If
structure.
we look
Yeah.
back, if we go back to go forward again, we look back at to the indigenous ways and the way the indigenous people look. And you always hear me say this. You always hear me say the Native Americans, the Tibetans, the Shaolin, the Aborigines, and the unsocialized tribes of men. Look at their tribal structures and how they work,
How
and
they
then all
work.
of a sudden you can see how to put all these things together.
That's an idea right there.
What are you doing, Odie? He's so pretty. That's a pretty dog. They don't know what he's bull
He's a
mastiff.
good dog. I'm a good dog.
He's bull mastiff.
I know you're not really just a dog, though.
No. You see how calm he is? Yeah. Why aren't our dogs calm like that?
Because he's way older than our dogs. Our dogs are all young dogs. They're all like
Teenagers.
piss and vinegar dogs.
Yeah.
That's where I've observed many of the problems happening from people that are building these sanctuaries. I've seen some good ones that work out because, like I said, they know each other well. They've been friends, or I guess you could say they put the business aspect of it in
That's
front
right.
and put everything else
You know what
behind it.
family dynamics are, right?
To an extent, yeah.
Okay, so family dynamics are psychological. It's a psychological view of how things work in a family.
Yeah.
Right? And the way things work in a family through a psychological view is if you've got if say the husband's a strong leader, okay, but yet behind him is a woman that wants to be the strong leader also, and she's in his ear going, oh, you know, blah blah blah, don't let him do that, don't let him blah blah blah.
Don't let
Then
them do that.
Yeah.
Don't spend
Yeah.
that much money
See,
on that.
Now there's not unity there
Hair
because
turned
everything
red
should
over
flow
the
with
night.
each other.
Kinda drippy,
Okay,
yeah.
and that's what we're trying to get through right now because we've been so preemptively, predictively programmed for hundreds
Conditioned
of
and
years
programmed.
that the family dynamics is a ruin. It's a puzzle that's been thrown in the air,
Well,
and you're looking for all the pieces.
no. I'm trying to make sure the sun's not blocking
It's
us out
probably
while
blocking it
while we're sitting here doing this. Go ahead, you're fine. I'm gonna move it back over this way again.
over there next to the grill. Yeah.
Seen the sun hitting on it. I couldn't tell it was working out anymore. Make sure we get everybody.
And you are.
All right, there we go.
You're out.
Go right up yours.
There we go.
You said you wanted to learn how to do this.
What's
So,
this?
April, she's you know if she'll get out there and
Y'all
Look.
know I'm gonna probably post this on my YouTube channel.
I've been teaching April for 5 years, okay, and I'm not really teaching her, but just showing her my path, all right. And within that, she has her own view of things and her means of her path and stuff like that, which is good
What
because
she
she's
does.
still on her path moving forward, you know, because
That's
the
what
journey
she
and the
does.
destination is always one, and you're always on it moving.
do it
And,
at our own time.
Yeah.
Our own
Right, right.
pace.
That's right, and I'm not
Right.
him.
But see, like with Lauren,
But I gotta tell him
I just
too.
kind of introduced her and everything.
Uh-huh.
Because I told her, I said, look, I ain't like I was when we first met. I'm on a totally different level now.
Yeah.
Right.
And it kind of blew her mind for a while. And she didn't really understand what I was talking about, but she didn't have a chance to really engage in any of these spiritual aspects of your
Right.
own self anyway.
Right.
It was always,
You're
going to church.
wrong. You're not doing that.
You're going to church, and that's the only thing that's right. I grew up in churches too, but I
Me
knew
too.
inside it was spiritual, and I couldn't always express that with people. So what I did with her is I just opened the doors up for her.
Right.
Right.
I knew she liked, jewelry, liked to design stuff,
Mhm.
so I started showing, have you ever seen crystals? These are neat.
Yeah.
And introduced her to crystals. Look at this, and I opened this door. Have you ever seen, what was something else I broke you
It was
into?
stuff that I'd already looked into,
But
but
she
I
never
wasn't
had a
allowed
chance to get into the messing with the crystals. She was curious about tarot cards. So I could take her to
Yeah.
crystal shop.
That's what
Look,
she
these are tarot cards. Check them out. This is what it's about. And I started just opening all those doors and let her pick what she wanted to walk through.
Yeah.
Didn't try to say, hey, you only need to be doing this or that. But found out what she's really like with the crystals and stuff. Has a great little design eye.
Yeah.
When she does stuff.
Yeah.
Let her do her thing.
It's
like
part
that.
of your. It's just part of
That's-
a greatest end of your creative abilities.
Oh yeah.
If you
Yeah.
find what they like that and let them work on that path, they seem to do a little bit better than trying to force somebody.
Right,
It's kind of like
right.
going to church and they were forcing you to. But I get that way with her too at times. I'll be like, well, you didn't do this. I learned I have to slow down with that too, because even though I'm way up here, and you can kind of see that on people you talk with too, you have to kind of either be able to backtrack a little bit so you can
Yeah.
talk to them,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like once you get so far advanced, you have to know how to come back a little bit to people, or what you want to say,
You
come
have to
down,
remember
back
how to
down
turn
to
around,
earth.
Yes,
and
yeah.
reach back down to help them up.
There it is right there.
Right.
You got to know how to turn around and say, hey,
Yep.
come on, let me give you this
Let
hand.
me
Well,
give you a
see,
hand
you
up.
gotta
Yeah.
learn how to dumbify it down. So.
Sometimes
I'm not
you
giving,
have
that-
I'm
to
not
yeah.
giving you a
dumbify.
hand out. I'm giving you a hand up.
Like some
Okay.
things, like he has said to me, and it's like, okay, I get it, but I don't. And then hear somebody else interpret it. I'm like, damn, okay, yeah,
That
I
makes
totally.
sense.
Now I
That
see what
happens.
you're saying.
I
That happens
totally
with
got
her all
that.
the time. And that's
Planting
what
the
I tell her.
seed.
She'd ask me, what does that mean? I said, don't worry about it. It's just a seed right now.
Right.
Later on, months
Boom.
later,
It
Boom.
blooms.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, oh.
Well, most of my stuff,
I-
And
though,
you've been telling me
honestly,
this the whole time. I just
even
didn't
though
understand.
he's been telling me a bunch of stuff, most of my stuff came from Derek's old videos.
a lot of her stuff when she
When
got
I-
into it,
yeah.
when Derek came out, happened was a really good thing that helped her catch
Right.
on to a lot of the seeds that I had
Yeah.
been planting in her
Right.
already.
Yeah.
too.
She had resonated with you the way
Yes.
he was
And-
sick.
and
Yeah.
when I
Then,
did-
when
like,
I
yeah.
said that she
Yeah.
didn't understand because she
Yeah.
hadn't had an experience, that's where it all comes from.
Yeah.
It's just like whenever we're saying, man, I was over here at this place and I witnessed the spirits come out and speak to me. Well, unless you've had that happen, you don't know what that's like.
Right.
Right.
I wasn't walking in your fire circle and fire engulfed me, and I realized I was walking in spirit.
Yeah.
People have those things that
Yeah.
really, they're like, oh, hey, what's really going on?
Yeah.
You can't justify somebody else's experience, and that's where it really
Yeah,
comes down to, is
that's-
the
yeah.
experience. Unless you've had it or,
Mhm.
or stubbed your toe,
Right.
Yeah.
you'll never get there, man.
Yeah.
Get me started on something I know 100% about. I won't shut up about it. I can
Now,
get
that's
going on
something
and on
else.
and on
After
and
she
on.
got going, she gets on.
I get on my little tangent.
She gets to a learning. She gets to a learning point where, or a wanting to learn point, a seeking point, where she'll sit there and I watch her. She doesn't do it like really like you and me would probably just go after her until we got it.
Yeah.
She kind of sits back and looks around to it a little bit and thinks about it and might peek on it some more and thinks.
I see something, and then I find other things to verify and confirm. It's like a multitude of facets.
Yes,
It's like looking
the
out there and saying,
synchronicities,
okay,
yeah.
that leaf belongs to that tree, but that tree is
Tree is
connected to
exact-
all these other trees
Exactly.
and all those other leaves. And so I want to know what
Is
each one
doing.
information of each one has.
I do
So
a lot of that when
I
I'm doing
think
my
that-
puzzles.
a lot of things.
When I
you know?
put my puzzle
And,
pieces
and
together.
one thing
when
led
I'm
to another,
puzzles,
led to
yeah,
another,
things
led to
come
another.
me.
Till I had I was watching over 200 podcasts within a week. Okay,
No, it's just too
of different
much.
people.
Yeah.
And I would have earbuds in, audio them, listening to
I've
this
done
stuff.
that too.
and I
I've
was
been
going-
through that phase
And I was
too.
like, man, but it hasn't stopped. I still do the same thing
Every day,
morning.
as soon as he wakes up, that's the first thing he
I
does.
got Alan Watts
Sometimes it's
playing right now.
overwhelming for me.
You
I'm
know?
just being
You,
honest.
you,
It's
you stay in
overwhelming
your
for
frequency
me.
that way.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
where you
Me too.
need. That's how you
I
stay
hope-
there.
You know, after I read the Celestine prophecies, I knew that there was a small path to hold that frequency, and I knew if I did a certain thing every day, every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is say thank you.
So,
And who am I saying thank you to? I'm saying thank you to everything.
I used to
In
do
the
that before
all.
I woke up. It says in the Bible before you put your feet down on the ground when you wake up every morning.
You see,
Yeah,
some
and
of
a
those
lot of
things
people
we-
don't do that. They
Some
don't
of those things
understand
we
that.
thought were
used
like
to.
commands or something, or that you had to do or whatever. But if you were doing even those out of just, oh God, I'm supposed to do this today because I was told to in the Bible or whatever,
Right.
you're not getting the same
No, you're not
thing out
getting.
of.
It's not the same frequency.
It's
like
not
you
the
said.
same
It's not that.
frequency.
It's that higher realm of understanding or that higher realm of feeling
And
it, and knowing it.
the whole point behind that was to get you to be grateful that you're awake, so your day starts out right. I've tested that myself. If I wake up and I start off with a bull crap and shit mood, you can crush that, and then everything's bad, that whole day turns into one nightmare
Yep.
Yeah.
after the next.
Yep.
Because I'm staying in that frequency. I've noticed, and like I said, I've tested these. I've got up. Thank you for the day. It's beautiful out here. It sure is nice. Thank you for me waking up. Thank you, body. I love you, Hendrick. You're a good guy. You'll be okay. You know, everything's fine. Keep moving forward. And I talk to myself. I'm thankful for the universe and what I've been given, that I'm alive even to experience all this in. I notice my day's a lot brighter.
Yeah.
I run into people that I can engage with, that are happy to talk with me, and I'm not walking around with a sad look on my face. And that's that frequency that we're trying to stay into, man. That's 100%.
That's that natural bitch resting face.
Yeah, you got
Resting bitch
natural
face.
resting butthead face.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yes, I think I do too, though.
Smell the fart lip. That's what we call it.
I do too, though.
That's not just the way I look normally. What it
So
is.
after I met Bill and he started explaining some things to me, and I was really at that point there, I was absorbing every bit of
Everything.
information
I was there
because
too.
the information that was welling up inside of me, a lot of people call it a download. I'm calling it an upload because it was information that was already inside of me that was coming back to the surface, and I had to verify and confirm everything that was going on inside of me, from the emotional energies to the thought process and how my brain worked and everything else. And I
Yep.
started to recognize
Yep.
some things
Yep.
that there had always been a conflict inside of me,
Something like
that I was the only one that could resolve the conflict. And when I resolved the conflict inside of me, everything fell right into. It didn't fall. It rose right into place. It ascended into this perfect path that I've been following for years now, and I will not stop. You cannot make me stop. Okay, I'm gonna keep doing this till the day of this body's demise. And I will ascend, and I will get better at articulating it. I'll
Check
understand
that
it
time there.
more fully and completely than
We're
what I
going
do
to
now,
pause this
which
one and
is-
stop and
which
start
is a
another.
massive amount of